right, a very good morning to you. How are you doing? I hope that you're well, that you've had an amazing Wednesday. Karibu sana, an amazing week, and of course, an amazing beginning of Wednesday. So this is Afya Clinic right here ndani ya MBCI TV, ambapo tunabadilisha maisha by the grace of God. It's such an amazing time to be here. God has been so good, and it's so good for you to be. I would have said it's so good to see you, but hey, today so you see us. So it is very amazing to have you on this amazing show where we talk about everything health. So karibu sana, call in other people ili tubarikiwe pamoja, and so that we can all learn. And today we are having an amazing conversation because we are talking about immunization. And this is a topic that was there sana, especially during the COVID season. Watu walikuwa wanasema ataki vaccines. No, you know, vaccines, they do this, they do that. In fact, hizo ndo zinafanya mpaka mna. I don't know what people are saying. We are going to be talking about that today. And we have someone on board who's going to be tackling that topic very well. So karibu sana, we're going to be having an amazing time. We'll be here up to 10 in the AM. So tune in, usitoke. This is the place to be. All right, so that's it and done. Our numbers are very open, 0721 105 105. That is on WhatsApp, 23814. Our SMS code, which is absolutely free. We're live on Facebook, on MBCI TV Facebook page. We are live on YouTube, on MBCI TV official YouTube page. This is the place to be. This is home. So feel at home and let us enjoy, let us converse. So if you have any question, please feel free to send it here and we'll be able to tackle all your questions. Now, we'd love for you to understand what immunization is. And if you have any question about the same, we'll be getting to it. But because of that, we'd want to get the in history segment, because this will help you understand to vizuri what exactly is the history of immunization and why is that important in the first place. Okay, so we'll be getting that particular segment and then we'll be coming right back. My name is Rachel Kahugo. We'll be here up to 10 in the AM as I have told you, and this is where you call in other people so that we can learn together. On all social media pages, genda pale after Rachel Kahugo, send in your comments, send in your message. I'll be able to get you very loud and clear. But for now, let's get the in history segment and then we'll be coming right back. Senembale.
Immunization, a cornerstone of public health, has its roots in the practice of variolation, which involved introducing smallpox material into healthy individuals to induce immunity. This technique, originating in China and later practiced in Turkey and Africa, was introduced to Europe in the early 1700s. However, variolation carried significant risks. A major breakthrough occurred in 1796 when Edward Jenner discovered that cowpox could protect against smallpox, marking the beginning of modern vaccination with a safer and more reliable method. The 19th and early 20th centuries saw significant advancements in immunization. Louis Pasteur developed vaccines for rabies, anthrax, and chicken cholera in the 19th century, laying the groundwork for the germ theory of disease. This scientific foundation enabled the development of vaccines for diseases like diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough by the early 20th century, leading to a substantial reduction in the incidence. The discovery of the polio vaccine by Jonas Salk in the 1950s was another pivotal movement driving global efforts to eradicate polio. In the latter half of the 20th century and into the 21st century, immunization programs expanded globally under the leadership of World Health Organization. The WHO spearheaded efforts to eliminate diseases such as smallpox and polio. New vaccines for diseases like hepatitis B, rotavirus, and human papillomavirus (HPV) have been developed, and immunization schedules have become routine in healthcare worldwide. Despite challenges like vaccine hesitancy and access issues in low-income countries, immunization remains one of the most successful public health achievements in history, significantly reducing infectious disease prevalence and contributing to longer life expectancies.
Perfecto, and that is what the In History segment is telling us today about immunization, and you know that you've gotten to learn something from that. But that is just the beginning, because we are having our guest in studio already. And today we are having Beth Mwangi, who is the head of nursing at Valley Hospital. Valley Hospital is one of the best hospitals in Nakuru. I would say that without any doubt, in my heart, in my mind. Yes, as from what I know, but we'll be talking to her to know more about that. But then she is the head of nursing at Valley Hospital. So that tells you she's the best person to tackle that particular topic. Today we're talking about immunization. And this is one of the topics that I have been really wanting to talk about, because we had so many questions surrounding that, especially during the COVID season. Now, we're going to be talking about that. If you have any question, as I had said before, our numbers are very open. That is 0721 105 105, our WhatsApp number, which is absolutely open for you, not free. We have our SMS code, which is now absolutely free. That is 23814. And of course, you're live on Facebook on MBCI TV Facebook page. You're live on YouTube on MBCI TV official YouTube page, and on all social media platforms. Ukienda pale, tafuta Rachel Kahugu, utanipata. Send in the question. We'll have our doctor who will answer you. Of course, that will be me, because I'm also asking the questions to get to know about immunization. But come with me as we get to tackle this particular conversation. Hi.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
How are you feeling?
It's actually good to be here to
Amazing.
talk about something I have so much passion for. And I really appreciate MBCI for, giving me this opportunity to just talk to the community about this, topic that I love so much discussing about.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really good to hear that you're also very passionate about this particular topic, kwa sababu over COVID tuliongelea sana. Tuliongelea sana. Now we had so many questions, especially the way the vaccines zilikuja immediately, and people were asking, kwani bilikuwa na hizi vaccines pahali mnangoja? We had so many questions around that. So I hope today we're going to clear the air about that. But even before we continue, Sana, please say hi to the people, and then we can continue.
Once again, good morning. It's really good to be here today. Like I said, my name is Beth Mwangi. I'm a head nurse at Valley Hospital. And I'm glad I'm talking about vaccinations, Rachel. I'm very passionate about vaccination. And it's also good to pass some knowledge. I know people have a lot of questions around this topic. Because, we just assume that the government requires that people are vaccinated. But we need to get to the details and just understand, why is it important for me to get vaccinated? So it's really good to be here, and I'm hoping we'll have a good discussion. Feel free to ask as many questions as possible. Feel free to reach out. We'll share contacts so that, we can answer all questions as much as possible.
Perfect. And I've loved that you've said most of the people think it's a government rule. Lazima ukwe vaccinated. That's usually just it. We don't realize that it's for our own benefit. And I know that in today's conversation, we're going to unpack why it's important for us to get vaccinated, even without the government policies, why that is important for us. But before we go there, you're from Valley Hospital. That's one of my... I'm not sure we should have a favorite hospital, because, hey, we're not planning to get sick, but it's one of my favorite hospitals, the places that I've seen, because I've been there before. Now this is from a personal, nataka mchukua for testimonials, by the way.
Kabisa.
Yeah, right? Now tell us about Valley Hospital, for the people who are hearing that for the very first time.
All right. So Valley Hospital is a hospital that has been in Nakuru for quite some time. This is 26 years going on. And we've served quite a number, a huge population, I would say. But over time, we just get better. In the past 2 years, a lot of work has gone in just to make sure that we are able to serve even more people, give better service, and, reach more people, expand the service that we give. So a lot of work has gone in, in just structure, that is the building, the people, just to make sure that we are giving the best. We are a 60-bed capacity, and we have a lot of services. Just from general consultation to specialist consultation, and this includes obstetric and gynecology, or what people would call daktari wa mama. We have physicians, we have dermatologists, surgeons, all category of surgeons, and very many other specialities. We have an inpatient section that caters for people that are admitted, and we have a state-of-the-art theater that was recently renovated. I wish you could come in and see.
Yeah.
We also have a well-stocked pharmacy, a well-equipped lab with proper personnel that are well qualified and quite empowered to support the services that are given at the hospital. There's so much to say about Valley Hospital, but like you're saying, and what we've seen in the past 2 years is just people saying that I'm glad I got assisted here because the care there is exceptional. Yes.
It is. And you said you have been there for what, 20?
6 years.
26 years.
Yes.
So we've been here for quite a few years, and then you mentioned 26. And
26 is not few.
26 is not few, my friends. 26 is not few. That means that you've been there for enough time to gain the experience and the trust of people. Just to see an organization stand for 26 years, that tells you there's something they're doing. There's something great they're doing. So that's really nice. Today we're here to talk about immunization. So in layman's language, what would you say that is?
Immunization, there's, we use a lot of science to describe, and it's usually easy when, I'm talking to a colleague to explain what immunization is. But even when you're talking to the community, you try to, break down the language to what we simply call chanjo. I think chanjo is very familiar with people, and this just means we are introducing small bits of, inactivated infections in your body to activate immunity in your body so that when you get the disease, then your body is able to fight. So tunaika chembe kidogo kwa damu, then it gives an immune response, then you're able to fight a disease, a particular disease. And there are very many vaccines, and there are very different types of vaccines. So we have category of vaccines, or how we get immunity. We have live activated vaccines, so it means these are live infections, but in small quantities. Then we have the dead attenuated vaccines. This means the infection has been, let me say, killed, but we just take bits of it. We also have toxins, and when we talk about toxins, please, audience, do not run away, because these are toxins that have been deactivated so that they can activate some immune response in your body. And very many other things we can talk about, just how vaccines are made. So once you have that, you're given the vaccine when you're okay. Then over time, if you ever come across that infection, then your body is better prepared to fight that infection. So it doesn't mean you don't get the disease. It means you might get the disease, but not in the severity that would cause harm. Because again, it's very expensive to treat diseases or to treat infections. But if you already have the vaccine in your body, it means that you do not spend as much in treating this illness. But of course, there are some few infections that once you get the vaccine, then you might never get the disease. Just a few. And
what does this look like? Let's start from the live ones, just to give a few examples for us to understand it better. What are the examples? If I get one or two.
We have several that are live, and let me just use what the government provides for a start. And you will realize that saying live is not to bring fear to the people. Because you realize then you've also interacted with those vaccines. The first one is BCG, and this one is the kawaida one that is given at birth between 0 to 2 weeks. And this one prevents tuberculosis. There's also measles, that is a live vaccine. See, tunajua measles, ukambi. So that is also a live vaccine. We have rotavirus, is also a live vaccine. Then we have others now, like chicken pox, that is also a live vaccine, and many more that we can talk about.
And then now we have the dead one?
The dead attenuated vaccines. Attenuated vaccines.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of science.
It's a lot of science,
Yeah,
but it's something you can handle.
Yeah. So for the dead attenuated, meaning they're quite deactivated, we have diphtheria, we have pertussis, we have pneumonia vaccine. We also have the other vaccines like typhoid and so on. Then coming now to the toxins. We have typhoid, which is a toxoid. We call it a toxoid. Yeah. Okay. So there are those three categories that I could talk about at this point, so that tusipoteze pia watu sana.
Yes, for sure. Now, when you're talking about immunization, is that especially during, when you talk about vaccines, immunization, most of the Kenyans, you go back to when that was widely had, which was during COVID. And during COVID, vaccination ilikuwa, unajua mkiwa vaccinated, itasaidia COVID ita spread sana. So would that mean that vaccination or immunization helps with reducing of the spreading of these diseases?
Maybe I needed to talk about that at the beginning, why vaccines are important. If you go back to the WHO website, it states that vaccination is the second best way to prevent diseases. Apart from hand hygiene, vaccination comes in second in disease prevention. It is the cheapest way to prevent vaccines, because if you look at the cost of vaccines, whether they're these government provided or the ones that we pay for, then you realize the cost of getting a vaccine, even if you were to pay say 5,000, you wouldn't compare that with what it would mean to treat an illness. 5,000 is probably a bed fee in a hospital. So there's the benefit of reducing disease burden. So that means our communities are prevented or are protected to a huge extent. When we achieve a high immunization coverage, and maybe we can talk about that when you talk about how people benefit from vaccines, because you have natural immunity, and this means you acquire immunity from exposure to a particular disease. For example, if you got chicken pox, you remember tukiwa wadogo ulikuwa unapelekwa kwa watu wamegonjeka chicken pox so that you can be exposed and you get the natural immunity. Then we have acquired immunity, and this comes from now getting the vaccine itself. Then we also have herd immunity. Herd immunity means the population benefits when a lot of people have been vaccinated. So if, say, in this room, we have a population of 100 people, and 80 of us have been vaccinated, then the 20 benefits from the 80. So the higher the coverage, the better the immunity the community gets. And that is why we push people to ensure that they catch up with their vaccination, so that the community is, or the population is protected from diseases. Just going back to benefits of vaccination. So we've talked about reducing the cost burden of treating diseases. Number two, managing disease trends from herd immunity. That's the other thing that generally just improves the quality of life, because if I'm vaccinated and I'm able, if I don't get an infection, I have better quality of life compared to someone who is, exposed to a particular illness every now and then. So I can talk about those three benefits of vaccination. Then, of course, the benefits that go to the country or to the workplace. If most people are vaccinated at MBCI, it means we are reducing the number of days you have people going for sick off. Even just pick a simple flu vaccine. If you have 5 people getting flu, then it means you're going to give probably 3-4 days until they recover. You might close your studio if a lot of your staff are away or out of work. So there are all those are the benefits that vaccination gives that might not be visible to the general population. But if you look at it globally, then the benefit is really huge. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're talking about vaccination. Now just to mention immunization, and
yes,
and people wonder: is it the same thing? Is it different? So is it the same or what's the difference between immunization and vaccination?
So those two terms are used interchangeably. Kukwambia tu kweli. Immunization is what happens in the body after you have been vaccinated. So vaccination is the act of introducing the vaccine into your body. Then immunization is now what happens in your body when your body is taking up these small bits of infection. So by saying immunization, of course we use it because it's the language people understand better. But vaccination is the act, immunization is what happens in the body. Yes.
Works well, works well. Now, who are the people who are mostly at risk of getting an infection or a disease if not vaccinated? Is it the kids? Is it the older people? Do you have a particular group that we say, nyenye lazima mkwe vaccinated? Ama is it the general population?
Again here, just for the masses to know, everybody is at risk of being exposed to a particular infection. But some people have higher risk of getting infection, and here we talk about age, particular age groups like the very young ones or the very old ones. If people are immunocompromised, and this could be anything that causes your immunity to go down. It could be diabetes, it could be cancer, it could be HIV. The other category now depends on the exposure to particular environments, and that is why we have category of vaccination for different people. We have say for example, for people who are in hospitality industry, they are exposed to particular type of infections. People working in hospitals have exposure to hepatitis B, so that is a population you would want to focus hepatitis B vaccination. So it really depends with where you are and the environment you're in. But just to go back, everybody benefits from vaccination. I know we feel like it's a children's thing, and vaccines were made for children, but that is not the truth. The truth is the government so much has supported vaccination of the younger population because you want to protect them early, and like we've said, they are at a higher risk of getting infections. So the earlier you get your vaccination, the better. The earlier, the better.
And this is for any
for
vaccine?
anyone, for any vaccine. Of course, we'll talk about the categories which serve adult and which ones serve the younger and the different population. But just going back to how the program works. So if the government is supporting, and if you remember, I don't know how old you are, but for us who've been around, I think when we started getting vaccines, you would only get polio and maybe one we call DPT, that is diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. There were just those two vaccinations, but over time, as government gets funding and you get more support, then you're able to introduce more vaccines. Also, as research goes on and new vaccines come in, depending again on the disease trends, then new vaccines are introduced over time. So if your mom got 2 vaccines and now they're coming back and taking their granddaughter or their grandson back to the clinic and they're getting 5 vaccines, then sometimes they feel like it's too much. But that is how the program works.
moving,
So the more funding is available, the more newer vaccines we get, the more they are introduced.
Okay. Where did BCG come in? Because you've talked about the two. And by then, I would love to know the polio vaccines. By then, ilikuwa zile zilikuwa ka the oral. You take orally. They're still the ones. Mazili.
There are
different?
there are two types.
Okay.
Let me take you through that. So for polio vaccines, we have two types. We have the oral and we have the injectable polio.
Okay.
And again, they're given at different points. So for the childhood vaccination or the early years, the first year of life, let me say the first year of life, at birth, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks, you get the oral polio vaccine. So that is still there.
Okay.
Then at 5 years or from 4 years onward, you can get an injectable polio vaccine.
Okay.
The injection, which is inactivated polio vaccine. But it is combined with other vaccines. I know it's called polio vaccine, but it has other, like 4 other vaccines in it, given now to the older population, 4 years onwards. And that is what for adults would get as catch-up. Yes.
Works well. Now, at what point did BCG come in?
BCG has really always been there. And what I want us to also appreciate is that BCG might be important in the Kenyan population, but say not in the European population, depending on what your disease priorities are. Because probably in Europe or, you know, those developed countries, TB is no longer an issue to them. But for the developing nations, TB is an issue and it needs to be given. So if you say you go to the US, meningitis vaccine is given at birth and not BCG. But BCG has always really been there for so long. And this is because, again, of the disease burden. So you want to prevent children from getting TB as early as possible because it's quite complicated to treat in childhood. But again, our numbers, if you look at our top 10 causes of death from the WHO website, TB comes in, I think, 4th. And, you know, that just tells you how bad the burden is.
Okay. That's serious. Makes more sense. Now, we'll be coming back to look at more questions. But for now, let me just remind you that our numbers are very open. That is 0721 105 105 23814. Our SMS code, which is absolutely free. We're live on Facebook on MBCI TV Facebook page. We're live on YouTube on MBCI TV official YouTube page. And of course, on all social media pages. Ukinitafuta pale kama Rachel Kahugu, you'll get me there and send me your feedback. I'll be able to get them. For now, I'd love for us to get healthy living. This is a segment about tumeandaliwa na the one and only Sylvia Wanja. And then we'll be getting to just take a look at how to live healthier while we talk about vaccinations. And then we'll be coming right back. Usinembali, we have Vox Pops. We would love to hear from you guys what you'd say about vaccinations. Do you know about it? Is it important to you so far? And it's really important for us to hear that because that is what we are talking about today. But for now, let's get healthy living and then we'll be coming right back after a very short while.
Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. My name is Sylvia Wanja. Today we are going to discuss about the importance of vaccination. Vaccination is one of the most effective ways to prevent infectious diseases and protect individual and public health. Here are key reasons why vaccines are important. Number 1, protects against deadly diseases. Vaccines help prevent serious illnesses like measles, polio, hepatitis, tuberculosis, and COVID-19. Many of these diseases were once widespread but have been controlled or eliminated thanks to vaccines. Number 2, boosts immunity naturally. Vaccines train the immune system to recognize and fight infections without causing illness. This helps the body develop long-term resistance
to diseases. Number 3, prevents disease spread. When a large portion of the population is vaccinated, the spread of disease is reduced. This protects those who cannot be vaccinated, such as newborns or people with weak immune systems. Number 4, reduces healthcare cost and burden. Vaccination prevents hospitalizations, reducing the cost of medical care and treatment. It helps governments and families save money by preventing outbreaks and long-term complications. Number 5, protects future generations. Diseases like smallpox have been eradicated through vaccination. Continued vaccination efforts can eliminate more diseases, protecting future generations. Number 6, ensures a healthy lifestyle. Vaccines prevent severe health complications such as paralysis from polio or liver cancer from hepatitis B. A vaccinated population is healthier, leading to longer life expectancy. Number 7, required for travel and employment. Many countries and workplaces require vaccination records to prevent disease outbreaks. Travel vaccinations protect against infections like yellow fever and typhoid. Number 8, safe and effective. Vaccines undergo rigorous testing before approval and are monitored for safety. Side effects are usually mild, like soreness or fever, and they are temporary. In conclusion, vaccination is a simple yet powerful way to protect yourself, your family, and the community. Staying up to date with recommended vaccines ensures a healthier and safer world for everyone.
Alright, so that is it from Healthy Living by the one and only Sylvia Wanja. Now, we are back so that we would now continue with the conversation. As I had said before, today I am having Beth Mwangi, and she is the head of nursing at Valley Hospital. Today we are talking about vaccination. Wacha tuite vaccination kwa sababu tumejua what immunization is. So let's talk about vaccination and immunization. Vile tutajifeel kuita. But let's call it vaccination for now. So that is what you're talking about. We'll be reading your feedbacks, and of course we'll be giving a number at the tail end where you can ask questions, and you will get your answers. But for now, let's get to hear from our doc. And doc, right? Thank you. Okay, from our doctor. And then we'll be getting the vox pops for us to just understand more about vaccination and what you think about vaccinations, right? Doc, once again, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's a good time to talk about vaccinations. Now, once one is vaccinated, how long does it take for the vaccination to actively start working in your body? Is it a one-time thing?
Different vaccines have different timelines for uptake. Let me use that language in the body. Every vaccine has, different timelines for uptake.
Yeah.
And even just using the example of COVID vaccines, we have different types of vaccines, and they all take different times to, give us immunity in the body. And usually, it can also be a process because remember, they also come as doses. So there are those that you only need 1 dose.
Yeah.
There are those that you would need more than 2 doses. So usually we talk about the first dose as, priming the body, just preparing the body.
Yeah.
Then once you get the second vaccine, there's something else that happens in your body. And by the time you complete all your doses, then your body now gets the full immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can't talk about specific timeline. So it varies from vaccine to vaccine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Works well. Now let's get to see some of the vox pops for us to understand. Now, Doc, we asked people some questions about immunization, and we'd love to hear what they said about the same, and then you'll be responding before we get to the mythbusters.
Okay.
Let's get the vox pops so that pia nyinyi muone surely how that is going.
Kwa majina naitwa Mbugu Benjamin, mimi ni mkazi wa Nyahururu. Wakati mtoto anapozaliwa ni muhimu sana mama kumpitishia katika zile chanjo kwa sababu zina umuhimu wake. Kwa mfano kuna ile against polio, kama haitafanyika kuna likelihood ya kupooza kwa ule mtoto at any age in life. Kuna zile zingine tunaita za tuberculosis. Kama haitafanyika inamaanisha mwili hautakuwa tayari kufight against TB in the event the child is infected. Ile process ya vaccination ilikuwa developed na expert, na usipoifanya inamaanisha that's a personal opinion of which is not an expert point of view. Yeah.
Kwa majina ni Lois. About immunization, I believe it's effective. It makes your baby healthy. It also ensures that are protected against those illness like polio now. Kuna lack of information, kuna some who are basically ignorant. So lack of information ni juu dissemination information to some villages ni poor, and then mostly religion, kuna some religions zenye zina interfere with how people believe about the immunization process. But sasa hii ingine ya ignorance ni ile tu, you don't want because you believe it's not effective, ama you believe that haitakusaidia in any way, but generally ni to lack of information. If you know better and you know you're protecting your child, you should go for it.
Mimi naitwa Maina. Unajua mimi nilipata ikiwa na kulingana vile mimi nasikia ama kulingana na vile mimi najua inafanya at least mwili ya mtoto inakuwa sio weak, si dhaifu. Na pia naonaga at least wenye wamepata chanjo mwili inakuwaga strong, na pia ni ngumu sana kupata magonjwa. Mostly kupata magonjwa kwa haraka, immune system kuwa chini, kitu kama hiyo. Hivyo ndio mimi najua kulingana na mimi.
Muhimu ya chanjo ni inazuia magonjwa. Chanjo ni mzuri, inazuia magonjwa, mtoto asipatwe na magonjwa kubwa kubwa. Sasa ndio maana muhimu ya chanjo ni kama ni ugonjwa yoyote mbaya inazuia isikuje kama ikiwa na ungumu yake.
Labda kwa mafunzo kama wewe uliweza kuyatoa wapi kama mama?
Nilianza kufunzwa kama na daktari. Unastahili ukipata mimba, unastahili ukuje udungwe chanjo ili kuzuia mtoto asipatwe na magonjwa akiwa kwa tumbo. Ya pili ni kumeza mandawa. Hii mandawa tunamezanga kuongeza damu kuzuia mtoto asipatwe na magonjwa. Ukipata mtoto, huwa mtoto anadungwa akiwa na sayo yenye umejifungua, huwa anadungwa sindano moja. Ukienda nyumbani anadungwa ingine ya 6 weeks. Kuna ingine ya 9 month, na kuna ingine ya 1 year hadi 6 month, na kuna ingine ya 2 years hadi 6 month kuzuia magonjwa. Chanjo ni muhimu sana kwa mtoto. Juu nimeona umuhimu yake ni mzuri sana. Tuseme umuhimu ya chanjo ni kuzuia magonjwa, asipatwe na hiyo magonjwa kubwa kubwa isikuje kumletea madhara. Baadaye apeleke mtoto chanjo, mtoto apokee chanjo zote na mtoto aweze kukua mzuri, kuwa na afya mzuri.
That is some good understanding about immunization. What do you think?
I'm actually very happy with how much the population or the community knows, and it just tells you about how much work has been done by the healthcare workers to make sure that people are educated and they understand so that they can own the program. It's really encouraging.
It's not just a blanket answer. That inasaidianga but ujui inasaidiaje. You've heard them saying about inasaidia tusipate magonjwa kubwa kubwa. But then we've heard you said about some of the diseases that would be preventable by taking or by being vaccinated, which is a really good thing. Now, let's get to take a look at some of the myth busters or some of the myths that surround vaccination and immunization. Both
You're
of them.
learning. You're doing well.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the myth busters. One is that vaccines contain harmful toxins. Is that true or not?
I think I'm glad I put in a disclaimer at the beginning, because sometimes when you hear, these big words, you imagine that they're going to cause harm. So this is a common myth about, toxins and a lot of other things that people imagine are in vaccines. So the way vaccines are made, apart from the small bits of infection, there are other things that are added to keep the vaccine safe so that it doesn't pick infections. There are also other things that are added just to make sure the vaccine is stable, so that it can stay safe until it reaches the person receiving or the recipient. There are also others that just make sure that the vaccine does not stick to the vial or the bottles that they come in. And usually those are very safe things. And if we look at even how vaccines are manufactured, it takes a very extensive study over a long period of time. And even before it's released to the public, it goes through several checks and tests. If there are issues, they are addressed before it's released to the public. And usually we don't even get to know, because they don't even get to the market. So vaccines are very safe. And if, like, say for tetanus, for example, which we talked about it being a toxoid, they're very safe levels and very minimal levels of that vaccine. And if you look at the people who've gotten the vaccine, I don't think we've come across people who would actually say they were harmed by the vaccine. I personally have not come across anyone say, I got a tetanus vaccine and it had an effect on me or the baby and so on. Yes.
Okay. Works well. So they're not harmful toxins, as we have seen. So that works really well. On to the second one, the second myth buster, which is that vaccines are only for children.
Hey, Rachel.
Yes.
This is the greatest myth of all time around vaccination. And like I said, they're not only meant for children. Everyone can benefit. And I hope we'll have time to just look at how the schedule is, so that you understand at what point you can get a vaccine. So vaccines are not only meant, for children, but even for the older population. We can all benefit from vaccines. And I think this is the population we need to be talking to, because vaccine-preventable diseases cause quite a burden. From the simple diarrhea diseases, I know someone talked about magonjwa kubwa kubwa, but there is, we would call them simple diseases if you think about them. Diarrhea diseases, pneumonia, malaria. You might not know someone having diphtheria, but a healthcare worker would know. So they're like very common illnesses that are vaccine preventable. And please, this is not only for children, but it's for everyone. We all can benefit.
We'll be looking at the schedule in a very short while to just understand at what point is one vaccinated with what vaccines. On to the second one is that the third one rather is that vaccines causes autism. I've actually heard of these somewhere again. Tell us about it.
Unfortunately, this myth came from a doctor. Unfortunately.
Very unfortunate.
Many years ago. But studies have been made, studies have been done just to ascertain that, they do not actually cause autism. And the one vaccine that was associated with that was measles. But I think it caused this doctor to even be deregistered because of the lie he was spreading. And if you just go back, there are a lot of research that has gone into that particular area just to confirm that they do not cause autism. And if you look at if you go back now to studying autism and you look at what the causes are, vaccines have not been listed as one of the causes.
True.
So again, this does not cause autism. And I think we've all gotten measles vaccine. And I think we've turned out well. So, it's not a rare vaccine. So
Okay. All right, on to the other one. is that too many vaccines overload the immune system?
Once again, Rachel, how many diseases can your body suffer? How many? How many do you think your body can suffer?
Surely, we're at risk of almost all the
diseases. All. Yeah, so if I gave you a flu vaccine today, it won't prevent you from getting measles infection. Yeah. So every vaccine is particular and specific to a particular disease. Yeah. So just as much as your body can get very many infections, it means your body can also take very many vaccinations. Okay. Of course, there's a way they are administered or they are given so that, you know, you don't get everything at once. So if, say, we have 20 vaccines, you get zote pamoja. Yeah, there's a way, and that is why we have a schedule, because you also look at, you know, what goes well with what, so that we also do not cause trauma to people. So there's a way they are spread out, just to ensure that people do not feel overloaded.
All right. Yeah. Let's get to take a look at the schedule. Take us through it. What is the schedule for getting the vaccines?
Okay. So I'll talk about two schedules. There's the national schedule or the KP schedule that is common and I would say mandatory for everyone to get. But I would also want to mention about the WHO recommended schedule, especially for the Kenyan population, because like I said, because of disease priorities, particular vaccines are advocated more in particular areas than others. So I want to first talk about, you know, what everyone should get and what everybody gets from birth. So at birth and between birth and 6 weeks, 6 weeks we've talked about BCG. This is for tuberculosis and oral polio vaccine. So that is given within that that 2 weeks window. After which we let the baby go home, come back after 6 weeks. Then at 6 weeks we give oral polio. There's one we call pentavalent. So pentavalent has 5 vaccines in it. It has diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, Haemophilus influenza type B, and hepatitis B. So that is a 5-in-1 vaccine, but it is given as one vaccine. We also have pneumonia vaccine, and we also have rotavirus vaccine. So that is given at 6, 10, and 14 weeks. But at 14 weeks, another vaccine is introduced. And this is the one you're calling the injectable polio vaccine. So the inactivated polio vaccine is given at 14 weeks, just as a, you know, to boost what oral polio had been doing. Then we move on to 6 months. There's a measles vaccine given for a particular category of clients, and these are the HIV exposed babies. They are given measles vaccine at 6 months.
Why so?
Because you remember we talked about lowered immunity, so you want to protect them as early as possible. Then for some particular counties, I think 3 counties in Nyanza, we have malaria vaccine given at 6, 7, 8, and 24 months. Then from there, we have 9 months, measles vaccine is given. At 6 months, we also give vitamin A. We do not want to leave it out, as much as it's not a vaccine, but it's important. It's important to mention. Then at 18 months, and I like the lady who gave us the schedule. She was actually very accurate with it. At 18 months, yes, and she's well educated by the team.
Well educated.
Yeah, at 18 months, there's the measles vaccine that is repeated as a booster. But away from that, there are other vaccines that are recommended by WHO that are not catered for by the government. And these are what other people would call baby-friendly vaccines, but we do not like using that term. But they're just vaccines that are recommended further away from what the government provides. And usually if you go to any facility for these vaccines, you'd probably be pay from your pocket or from your insurance, because they're not catered for, they're not free per se. So at 6 months, so the schedule is still the same up until 6 months. At 6 months, you can get a flu vaccine, and usually flu vaccine you get 2 doses. If you're below 9 years, the children would get it as 2 doses, so 1 month apart. So that is 6 months and 7 months. At 9 months, you can have the measles vaccine, the one that is provided by the government, or you can have one that has a mumps vaccine. So the government one has measles, rubella, but there's one that has measles, mumps, and rubella. So
Which
it's a
is?
3-in-1.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a 3-in-1.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's slightly different. But in case that one is not available, we still fall back to what the government provides instead of, the baby staying without. Then moving on to 1 year, we have the chickenpox vaccine. We have hepatitis
very
A.
important.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about the chickenpox one at some point.
At some point,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. So there's chickenpox vaccine, there's hepatitis A vaccine, and there's also a cholera vaccine, and this is an oral vaccine. This, I think it's quite it's 2021 new.
Okay.
2017 is not so new, but there's a cholera vaccine that is usually given 2 weeks apart. The chickenpox is given at least 6 weeks apart.
Okay.
Hepatitis A is 6 months apart. It's a 2-dose.
Okay.
Then now moving on to 15 months, that is when you catch up now with the chickenpox vaccine.
Yeah.
And you can either get the measles vaccine booster at that point or wait until 18 months.
Okay.
We also have typhoid vaccine at 2 years. That usually, because we call this an endemic zone, or typhoid is rampant in our country, then you need to get a dose every 3 years. There's also the polio vaccine you were talking about. 4 years onwards, you can have that introduced. And for all these vaccines...
So the second polio one has, is it also mandatory?
It is not mandatory. And these are the extra vaccines you're talking about that are recommended by WHO. But even say when you're traveling, you'd be required to get the polio vaccine. There's also the yellow fever that I think I skipped at 9 months, but you can also get that at 9 months. There's the HPV vaccine. This is the one that we give to our girls from 10 years, but anyone from 9 years can get the vaccine. So the polio vaccine is there. Then we have our COVID vaccines. That those ones I think we imagine they're adult vaccines. But I would say that is how the schedule is. Yes.
Maybe before we continue, I'd love to know if at some point I skipped any vaccine. Should be at around 6 months, and now the baby is around 9-10 months. Is it possible for them to get that vaccine, and will it have any changes in their body?
Okay. So we call that catch-up vaccination. So if a child missed out on vaccination, at whichever point they get access of that vaccine, they should be vaccinated.
Okay. As
long as the period that is advised between the 2 vaccines is met, they can catch up with the vaccine. I think there's only one vaccine that, can lock you out of time and you'd have to repeat. That is the rotavirus. Rotavirus. You should get it within a particular period. It doesn't benefit if you get it past 1 year. Then I think that is majorly what can lock you out. But for all the other vaccines, you can actually catch up at the point. And usually, we do not, for most vaccines, we do not recommend that you restart. We just encourage that you complete what you had started. The body, you remember we talked about priming. Like the body being, primed. So the body still remembers, it has memory that something had been given.
But then, for the ones that have 2 doses, does it mean that when you're given the first dose, the body will not fully be immune to the disease until you have the second one?
Correct.
I see.
Yes, so you'd have to get the complete doses,
okay.
the complete schedule for you to benefit from the vaccine.
Okay.
So you have to complete, if you had taken the first one, take the second one. If there's a third one, take the third one. And that is why we are very insistent on, when we talk to our clients, that you have to complete your schedule. Usishangae kwa nini daktari anasema kaa ukirudi mara nyingi, what is this in hospital? Just come back and we complete so that you can get the full benefit.
Okay. And why is it that it's not giving it in one? Because we've seen the vaccines that are given like 3 in 1. Is that 4 in 1? No?
We have a 5 in 1.
5 in 1?
Yes.
5 in 1. So why is it that the others that are given just 1, but in 2, after like
doses.
Yeah, in 2 doses after like a month or 2 weeks? Why does that happen?
So remember, we are talking about introducing small bits of infections.
Okay.
So there's only a particular amount or a particular dose that we need to activate an immune response. So you do not give everything at once, because then again there's also a particular amount that the body can handle.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I know we'll talk about side effects. You do not want to trigger side effects because of how much you've exposed a person to.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you have a 5 in 1, each is taking care of a particular illness. But if you're going to give like 2 doses at once, then it can be too much for the body to handle.
Okay. I see. Now, I see you have questions coming in, but we will know how to go about it. For now, I'd want us to take a very short break and then we'll be coming right back. But I want you to remember that today we are talking about vaccinations. And we're here with Beth Mwangi, who's the head of nursing at Valley Hospital, Nakuru. Okay, so please feel free to ask your questions. Our numbers are very open. That is 0721 0105 105 23814. Our SMS code, which is absolutely free of charge. We are live on Facebook on MBCI TV Facebook page. We're live on YouTube on MBCI TV official YouTube page. So we'll be taking a very short break and then we'll be coming right back. Usiende mbali. Remember, this is Afya Clinic right here ndani ya MBCI TV, ambapo tunabadilisha maisha by the grace of God.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Kenya's resilience. Amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions. And empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
Welcome to Gilgil Hills Academy, a mixed day and boarding school, the one-stop school of educational opportunities for your child.
We are strong together in learning.
We are located within Gilgil town in a serene and homely school environment. We offer the best competence-based curriculum at its best. A strong team of highly skilled teaching staff is on hand to provide, with great attention to detail, a stimulating, individualized learning experience for your child. Our rich programs and wide range of facilities allow your child's maximum exposure, participation, and convenience in learning. Come and be part of the greatness of the Gilgil Hills family by calling 0794 952 635 or 0710 308
0818. Your child deserves the best. Gilgil Hills Academy, the real school with a difference.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Right, we are back after that very short break. This is Afya Clinic right here ndani ya MBCI TV ambapo tunabadilisha maisha by the grace of God. I hope that you're learning, so make sure that you share this link with everyone. Yes, as soon as possible, because it's very important for them to learn these as well. Now, today we are having Beth, and we're talking about vaccination. She is the head of nursing at Valley Hospital at the heart of Nakuru. Yes. Mesema heart of Nakuru and then I realized Valley Hospital. We'll tell you mahali iko, so don't worry. Okay? But we'll be giving you a number as we wind up so that if you have any question, you'd be able to ask and get helped. We say that there's always hope. Okay? In this health show, you know, every time we talk about health, inakanga ni kama it's a very serious issue. Sometimes when you're talking about serious topics, people will feel like it's a death sentence. Like you're talking about cancer, what do you mean? But on this show, we say that there's hope. Okay, so if you need help, this is the place to be, because this is where you get help. And of course, in Jesus as well. Now, once again, thank you so much for being with us on this show. It's really nice to just clear the air on some of these things. We have talked about the schedule of the vaccination and how that goes and why that is important. But kwa sababu kila kitu nakuanga na side effects here and there, we'd love to know, for the vaccines, is there any side effects?
I like that you said kila kitu iko na side effects. Even, which is the most common dawa, mara moja, that people rush to pick. Paracetamol has side effects. Unfortunately, you will never know the side effects if you have not taken that paracetamol. You can only know if you have taken it.
Sad.
But usually when, you know, they're developing vaccines, when they're being developed, the studies include, you know, the trends of how people react to those vaccines.
Okay.
And that is how they are categorized as side effects. Side effects are expected, and with all medication. Usually, the side effects, I would say, are minimal.
Yeah.
But usually say if you see something that, you know, is really concerning, just go back to your, your provider or your healthcare worker and talk to them about, because you might never know until someone experiences it. But generally, vaccines, some of them, especially the live vaccines, can give you particular side effects, which would include maybe fever, body aches. Sometimes people can also get stomach upsets or abdominal pain. Some people would get nausea, vomiting. So it varies from person to person. Because, Rachel, how I would react to a vaccine is different from how you would react to it. So it varies from person to person, but this should not scare us from getting the vaccine, because the benefit outweighs the risk or the side effect. The benefit is greater. If we go back to vaccine history or to vaccination history, I was reading that when Louis Pasteur was, developing, was it smallpox vaccine? Then the daughter the son got some really bad side effects. And over time, he overcame and he was able to develop the next vaccine. So it says that we expect some of these things, but the body has a way of clearing it. And, it just says that your body is responding or it's getting immunized.
Okay.
If you can now use the word immunized. Yeah, it just
Okay.
says your body is taking up the vaccine.
Okay. There's someone who gave an example of what vaccination looks like when we were talking about this topic, and they said that, and I think that's the right, but it's too layman language. They say that when you're being vaccinated in Amanisha, if you're being vaccinated for COVID, for example, it's like a small level of COVID. Inachukuliwa, inawekwa kwa body yako, so that your body will get used to that and it will fight the COVID when that comes.
Yes.
And with that explanation, people got to understand why then you get the side effects. Is that ni yako ka ugonjwa, like you sick.
Yes,
it's
you
just
actually
serious.
You can actually get symptoms that mimic that disease. If it's a measles vaccine, you can get a rash. You can get a fever.
Okay.
If it's a flu vaccine, you can get flu-like symptoms. So true, the layman language actually explains the science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Behind.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing when you see the side effects. Just know that the vaccine is working.
It's working.
Yeah. So sikuwe na pressure sana.
Yeah, but if it's too much again, go back to your healthcare provider.
Yeah, okay, very important. Now, there are people who believe that natural immunity is better than being actually vaccinated because, hey, if I can get it naturally, mbona niendea vaccines? Tell us about it.
So if we understand, like I explained, natural immunity, acquired immunity, herd immunity, if we understand that, then we will stop fighting about, acquiring immunity naturally. Because not all diseases give you, that natural immunity.
Yeah.
Not all diseases will give you immunity after being exposed to that disease. It's just a few diseases like measles, chickenpox. Yeah, so there are very few diseases that you would get immunity from that. But if you look at it again, and just how with urbanization and how things have really changed, the foods we eat, how our sanitation is, we're exposed to different diseases. And it means that the diseases that were there in, say, the 80s are not the same diseases that we are seeing now. And even if they were there, some have been amplified. We are seeing them more. So the disease trends really also dictate what vaccines we get and how vaccines would work for you. So please, let's not wait for your natural immunity. Let's get vaccinated because the trends have changed. Our exposures, we are living in a global village. An example, Nakuru is a highway town. So it means we are receiving people from Rwanda, Congo, Uganda, all the way to Mombasa. So it means if there's a disease that is moving along the highway, just pick the mpox. It moves with the highway because we are no longer confined to the small villages. We are now in a global village. If you go to an airport today, you find people from different countries, different exposures. So let's get vaccinated. Yeah.
It's very important. It's very important. Now, as a healthcare worker, what do you think are some of the biggest or the major challenges that you faced in just making sure that we achieve full immunization or vaccination of the Kenyan population?
So the factors can be grouped into, I do not want to use the word patients because they are not the client factors. They're system factors. And they're individual or other factors that come to play. Someone talked about religion. There are some religions that believe in natural immunity. They do not believe in getting all these vaccines or even going to the hospital.
So how do you curb that?
A lot of education have to be done. A lot of education and also in engaging different stakeholders. So you can involve the gatekeepers in the community so that you crack that. So if it's, say, Kingdom Seeker says we are not supposed to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Then we go to the gatekeepers and talk to them. And that really helps. So if you come and talk, say, to the leadership, then, because a lot of it is influenced from the gatekeeper side. So we educate the influencers in that circle so that we can change the mentality. Another key thing is access. I think I just like the people you interviewed.
Yeah.
Someone talked about, distance, inaccessibility of healthcare facilities.
Yeah.
When we are in towns like this or in cities like this, we might never actually imagine how inaccessible healthcare is for some populations in the rural areas. So for those populations, priority is kwenda kibarua ama kwenda hospitali.
Yeah.
So there are all those issues of access, and those are healthcare system issues.
Yeah.
There's also the issue of affordability. The government has done so much to make sure that primary vaccination is accessible and affordable. But now, if you move to these other vaccines, cost is really an issue.
Yeah.
Because vaccines are very expensive to manufacture and to deliver to the population. And by the time you're seeing the government taking responsibility, it's because they know how hard it would be for someone to just get a BCG vaccine. It's very expensive. So cost is also another issue.
Yeah.
So we try as much as possible to make the cost affordable, but it's a very small population that can afford to get extra vaccination for their families. Some other issues are, education and just how much information people have.
Yeah.
Not everybody has this information we have, or the level of information that we've seen today.
Yeah.
But and because what information can you access? You have access to the internet, and you can quickly check through and read through the queries you have. But for some people, they really depend on the information they are given at the facilities they attend.
Yeah.
And then again, if there are issues of affordability and accessibility, then information is a problem.
Yeah.
We have attitude issues. Unfortunately, we cannot run away from that. Sometimes the health, I know we're doing a great job, but sometimes how people are received in health facilities really matters in whether or not they're going to come back.
Yeah.
So if, say, for example, you came to a facility and, I'm very rough on you. Kwa nini haujaleta mtoto wako? Leo ni tarehe ngapi unaleta mtoto? Ama saa hii ni saa ngapi unaleta mtoto? The tone and just how we approach the people we serve can really contribute on whether or not they'll come back for the... So, and even when, we are doing, our data review, we usually check to see who are these people that have not completed their vaccination. And then we reach out to them to just understand why they're not coming for vaccination. And I think if I look at Valley, we've done so much to make sure that the environment is very conducive. The nurses and, the people that offer these services, right from reception all the way to if you are encountering a doctor, pharmacy, the billing team, the nurses, they handle you in a way that you would want to come back and complete your vaccination. So that also really plays a role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those would be, the major hindrances or barriers to access to vaccination.
Yeah. And I've loved that you've said for the people who come and start their journey of vaccination and don't complete, you call them to know why exactly they didn't come. So what mostly would you say is usually the cause of them not completing the vaccinations?
Like I said, because I do not want to speak for Vari alone, but for the times I've handled vaccination programs, all those issues come up. Someone started, maybe, they can no longer afford.
Okay.
or probably they're coming from a different county. Remember, Nakuru County is having, you know, the neighboring counties.
Yeah.
So someone is, say, coming from Laikipia County. They came for the first visit. They didn't come back because of the distance. Probably they found a closer facility. Yeah. Sometimes we rarely have people who have just dropped off because they do not want to.
Okay.
But I think, again, educating the caregiver or the guardian really helps to just make sure they understand why it's important. That despite the challenges that you may encounter, then it's important to, you know, to go back and complete your vaccination schedule.
Yeah, very important. Wow. Now, I see we are almost winding up on today's discussion. But before we do that, I'd love for us to just take a look again at healthy living, because it's very important for us to just understand the vaccination process very, very, very well. And you know, we did that, yes, just before we started the show, or rather when we were starting, tulikuwa tumeangalia Healthy Living by Sylvia Wanja, and it's very important for us to understand why it's important to always stay healthy in terms of vaccination. We've had the whole discussion, and I'm sure that you've understood that, but let's take a look at this particular segment, and then we'll be coming to wind back as we get to hear. If now you want to get help continuing this vaccination, what are you supposed to do? Where can you get them? If you want to go to Valley Hospital, utawapata wapi? All right? And then for you who's sat there and decided that, no, mimi staki maneno, we'll get to have a word with you as well. But for now, let's get that short, amazing segment, and then we're coming right back.
Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. My name is Sylvia Wanjar. Today we are going to discuss about the importance of vaccination. Vaccination is one of the most effective ways to prevent infectious diseases and protect individual and public health. Here are key reasons why vaccines are important. Number one, protects against deadly diseases. Vaccines help prevent serious illnesses like measles, polio, hepatitis, tuberculosis, and COVID-19. Many of these diseases were once widespread but have been controlled or eliminated thanks to vaccines. Number two, boosts immunity naturally. Vaccines train the immune system to recognize and fight infections without causing illness. This helps the body develop long-term resistance to diseases. Number three, prevents disease spread. When a large portion of the population is vaccinated, the spread of disease is reduced. This protects those who cannot be vaccinated, such as newborns or people with weak immune systems. Number four, reduces healthcare cost and burden. Vaccination prevents hospitalizations, reducing the cost of medical care and treatment. It helps governments and families save money by preventing outbreaks and long-term complications. Number five, protects future generations. Diseases like smallpox have been eradicated through vaccination. Continued vaccination efforts can eliminate more diseases, protecting future generations. Number six, ensures a healthy lifestyle. Vaccines prevent severe health complications such as paralysis from polio or liver cancer from hepatitis B. A vaccinated population is healthier, leading to longer life expectancy. Number seven, required for travel and employment. Many countries and workplaces require vaccination records to prevent disease outbreaks. Travel vaccinations protect against infections like yellow fever and typhoid. Number 8, safe and effective. Vaccines undergo rigorous testing before approval and are monitored for safety. Side effects are usually mild, like soreness or fever, and they are temporary. In conclusion, vaccination is a simple yet powerful way to protect yourself, your family, and the community. Staying up to date with recommended vaccines ensures a healthier and safer world for everyone.
So that is it. We are back. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for that amazing segment. I'm sure that you have learned so much from that segment. Now, tumerudi, and we'd love to just wind up on this particular topic where we're talking about vaccinations. But, Beth, for the people who are at home, the parents or even adults, just adults, themselves, they haven't completed their vaccination schedules. And for their kids, pia wengine hawajamaliza, what would be your word to them?
There's something I forgot, Rachel. One hindrance that, keeps people away from vaccination. Fear of pain. Watu wanaogopa shindano sana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
So always remember, even as you fear pain, remember we've said the benefit is greater than the risk of not being vaccinated.
Yes.
So to our viewers back at home, I want to encourage us. Vaccination is what I would call community responsibility.
Yeah.
We all have a part to play. Let us be advocates for vaccination. Let us be, you know, our brother's keeper. And let us ensure that the people around us have been vaccinated first. So is the child in your neighborhood, is your sisters or your niece, your nephew vaccinated up to date? Or do you just go to, you know, to visit and not take that part of the history? So let us take responsibility. Let us, you know, talk about this as much as possible. When you do your baby showers, talk about vaccination as, you know, part of what should happen. We remember to talk about family planning, buy nice things, but we forget about what the real issues are. So let's talk about vaccination as much as possible. Let us be advocates. Na wewe kama haujachanjwa, kama haujamaliza, maliza kuchanjwa. Kama haujawahi chanjwa, kama ulichanjwa zile za utotoni, make sure you get a vaccine. Just start even with a flu vaccine. Get a meningitis vaccine.
Very important.
Look at engage your healthcare provider as much as possible so that you can understand what would benefit you. If, for example, you work in a hotel, get a typhoid vaccine, a hepatitis A vaccine. And cholera vaccine, because you can get this from, you know, that environment. If you work in a hospital, get a hepatitis B vaccine. I'm happy that at least nowadays that is a bare minimum. But vaccinate.
Very important. Now, for the people who've heard you and they'd love to come and get the vaccinations, or you know, they've heard about Valley, they'd like to come get checked, or, you know, come get treated, where are you located?
So Valley Hospital is located at West Road. You take the turn to the left at the West Side roundabout, adjacent to Waterback Hotel, and direct opposite Oleken Hotel. You'll see a magnificent building, blue and red. Just walk in there, friendly people waiting to serve you. Our vaccination clinic runs daily from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That includes Sundays. We have a dedicated team that will take care of you. And not just to vaccinate, but to also educate you. You can follow us for more information on our social media pages, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. We share a lot of content there and you know, a lot of education. You can also call us for any inquiries on 0111 051 820. I repeat, 0111 051 820. You can get us through that number. Let us converse. Let us see how best we can, you know, assist you to, you know, be fully vaccinated. I'm looking forward to seeing you, Rachel, as my first from this program.
Yes, please. We are gonna do that. Yes. We'll try. Your part ya sindano yenye umesema is where
we will take care of you. We will take care of you. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to talk about vaccination, and I'm delighted that, you know, we could have this conversation and engage. If questions come, we are willing to take them, and we will see how to address each and every question that comes our way. Thank you so much.
Please, if you have any question, make sure you ask. There's a whole team waiting to engage with you, to answer you. So usifeel ni kama you left out at any point. Hapana. Make sure you ask the questions. Others, thank you so much. Thank you. We have had a good time, and I know that you've been able to unpack this topic. But mahali, kama kuna mahali tumeacha, if you feel there's anything we've left out, you have our numbers. you have the Valley Hospital number. So make sure you reach out and you're gonna have that particular question answered. All right, that's it for today. God bless you. God be with you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Wacha sasa tupate did you know. Of course, Raja, when we get the did you know, that tells you we are winding up today's show, just to jog your mind a little bit and give you a feel of what end of Afya clinic looks like. Okay, so let's get the did you know as we wind up today's show that has been so amazing. And then we will be winding up. This has been Afya Clinic right here ndani ya MBCI TV ambapo tunabadilisha maisha by the grace of God. God bless you. God be with you. That has been really amazing. Now let's get the did you know. So that is it. That is the did you know, as you can see on your screens. And it's saying that, did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? They can pick up low frequency sounds through the ground. How amazing is that? So that's for you. Did you know that? That's for you to go and research. Tumesema that it helps you to jog your mind kidogo. And that's the best way to wind up today's Afya Clinic. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It has been an amazing show. It has been an educative show, and I hope it has been the same for you as well. Thank you so much for your time. We do value your time greatly. Once again, thank you so much for being with us today. It has been a good time. Yeah, so enjoy the rest of your viewing. Today we have an amazing outline for you. We say that MBCI is a family TV where you have everything outlined for you vizuri, where you can watch for you and your family. Okay, God bless you. Have an amazing rest of the week. We'll see you next week on Wednesday. Until then, bye-bye. God bless you.